up, Slayers? Happy New Year. Let's go. Good to see everybody. I don't know. Can you guys see there's a play button? Oh, I don't know what the hell that was, but great to see everybody. Welcome. It's 2024, and it's the first Slay Station of the new year. We hope everybody had a wonderful holiday season. We hope you had a great New Year's Eve. We hope you got resolutions plans, whether it's personal resolutions, fishing resolutions, financial, relationship, health, right? We hope everybody's going to stick with that plan. Holler if you need help with anything. We'll do our best to keep people motivated and inspire y'all and whatever we need to do to make sure everybody's living their best life and doing what they love. So thanks for tuning in. We got a great show tonight planned. I'm really excited to have all three of these guests on, and this is purposeful that we have all three on together at the same time. So I can't wait to introduce you all. Some of these guys you know, some of them you don't know, some of you followed, you've seen, but never have seen on the podcast before. So before we get started, we just want to thank all of our current 2024 title sponsors. You see them above the screen there, right? SFO, okay? Fishing Tackle, Z Pro Lithium, Dark Horse Tackle, Martin's Custom Baits, who you're going to find all about tonight. Okay, on the bottom, we have our presenting sponsors like X-Zone Lures, Heat Your Meat. That's right, babies. Stoneman & Son Lure Company, The Rod Glove, Hooks at Hoodlums, Harmony Fishing Company, and Omnia Fishing, and all these wonderful companies that work with us and our partners. You get discount codes too, which lets me bring up real quick. Do not forget that we have our early bird registration extension going on till January 15th. Okay, you can register with Slay Nation and join any of our series after that date. But if you register by the 15th, you're going to be entered to win all of those goodies right there on there. They go to one winner, right? 20 rod gloves, 20 packs of X-Zones, 15 products of Martin Custom Baits, a Z Pro battery, Heat Your Meat Ultimate Combo Pack, SFO gift card, Stoneman & Sons custom swim bait. You get to customize the color scheme you want on a 6-inch swim bait with Pete Stoneman, okay? And we'll have some more goodies as well to throw in there with like some Slay Nation swag. So don't forget to register for that. We have online series and all of our live clubs, small vessel, kayak series, horsepower series to look into. All right. And don't forget, we have a premium membership that gives you even more benefits. All right. So take care or take a look at that at SlayNationTournamentFishing.com. Okay. Let me take that off. And then lastly, Black Hall Outfitters has an amazing dream kayak giveaway going on right now. Go to blackhawloutfitters.com, enter yourself to win an Old Town EPDL fully rigged out with a trailer. All right. The total package is, I think, over $12,000. Comes with a power pole micro anchor. All you have to do, go on their website, register your name, your email, that information, and you're entered. If you want more, every $25 you spend or more, or every $25 you spend equals extra entries. All right. And so go take a look at that and enter. And wherever you live, they're going to ship it to you. Shoot. Are you kidding me? Let's go. So there you go. BlackHallOutfitters.com. Now, let's get on some guests. We're going to bring on Steve Martin.
Hey.
Brian Nye. What's up, baby?
What's up, Frankie?
And we're going to bring on Johnathan Kelley. What's up, boys?
What's happening?
Nothing much. How we doing? Happy New Year.
Good. Happy New Year, guys.
All right. What's going on? So listen, I know that was a long-winded introduction. So pardon that. We got a bunch of people already in the comment section. We got Jack Tibbins. Woo! Facebook users. Now listen, if you're tuning in from Facebook, make sure you grant StreamYard permission to use your name. Otherwise, all we see is Facebook user. All right. And then if you're on YouTube, we'll see who it is. We got Stephen Davis, Jack Tibbins. Who are they? That's funny. All right. What's up, Slay Nation? Right? Stoneman Lures. Okay. All right. On my 9 with the new Old Town gear. Ooh, okay. All right. Ray Nunn in the house, a.k.a. Slay Ray. Makes all of our goodies. All right. Hey, what's up, dudes? It's Friday night, and here we are on a podcast.
This place to be, right?
It is the place to be. That's it. It's the place to be. I mean, that's what happened. I mean, for me, I'm a parent, kids. Friday nights are not clubbing anymore. So we're talking fishing now. But hey, we got you guys on the podcast tonight. real quick, let's just go around the horn. Let's see who we got here. Just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself as well, especially Johnathan and I, like what you do in the fishing world. And but we're gonna start off with Steve up top.
So yeah, I'm Steve Martins. I'm owner of Martins Custom Baits. We're based out of here, Killingworth, Connecticut. Um, all our stuff is custom made here in house. Our whole product line, everything's manufactured in the U.S. I'm still an avid angler. I try to get out there as much as I can. It's kind of tough. We're always tied to the shop, but yeah, that's kind of everything in a nutshell. And I kind of leave it to the guys like Ryan and Johnathan to take care of all the use of the lures for me. So.
Hell yeah, brother. Awesome. Thanks for popping on, dude. All right, Johnathan.
All right, so I'm Johnathan Kelley. I'm from a very small town of Old Forge, Pennsylvania, and I fish the Bassmaster Elite Series. So I am traveling the country pretty much full time at this point, and fishing, competing in tournaments all year long. It has felt nice to be home on this off season the last few months, but as you can see behind me, the boat's there. There's a giant pile of stuff here that I've been packing up all day long, and I'm actually going to be heading to Louisiana in 5 days from now. So it's coming quick. New season's here, but I'm looking forward to getting it started. So hope you guys do follow along all season long on the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Awesome. I have a question. Old Forge, how far is that, or how close is that to Scranton?
2 towns down.
2 towns
like
down.
You wouldn't even know that you passed through like the towns to get to it.
Is Scranton, is that considered like that area, like coal minerville, like lots of coal mining back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, you can basically say I'm from Scranton. You can be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I remember. So back in the day, like in my early 20s, when I basketball is a big part of my life, and I coached AAU. My brother and I, we had a tournament down in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and all I ever heard everybody saying, "Oh, it's coal minerville." And so Scranton, that's all I think about now when I hear Pennsylvania, like the area you're talking about. That's just a memory that popped up in my head as you were talking about it.
Usually I get The Office.
Oh, okay. I didn't think about that one. I just think, all right. Now you're making me think of that now. Nice. All right. And Rye.
I am also from Connecticut, like Frankie and Steve, but I do more of the kayak stuff and Slay Nation member here in Connecticut. And then I do the national stuff. I've been fishing KBF and Hobie for the last couple of years and gonna jump over to the Bassmaster side of things this year, but travel around and fish as much as I can. So just out of a kayak instead of a boat.
All right, guys. So as you can tell, Nye has a little cold going on. Okay. He took some NyQuil. So if you see him pass out in 25 minutes, that was my over under. And now you know why.
There is a bet on it. So
there is a bet.
You can take the over or the under.
We bet 3 jigs. Nice. Oh yeah. Scranton's only hour north or south of me and Slay Ray. That's Jacob Stem, I believe. I think that's Jake Stem. Those are Pennsylvania guys, Pennsylvania Slayers. We have a nice sized Pennsylvania kayak series, actually. All right, cool. So here's what we'll do. Because I want everybody to kind of learn about y'all, right? We got a lot of people for us watching live right now. I really want to get into your backgrounds, right? I think it's unique. And then what we're going to do is like why the 3 of you are all together and even myself, we're all part of the Martins Custom Baits family, right? Steve's our daddy. Thank you, daddy. Right. And so Steve, let's talk about you being a small business owner. How did you come up with Martins Custom Baits? Like a little bit about your background. I know you fish tournaments, from other people I talked to before I had talked to you, or when I started to get to know you, people were like, oh, that dude could fish. Like talk about how this whole Martins Custom Bait thing came through fruition.
Sure. Well, yeah, like you said, I did a lot of competitive angling for a while, and then, at one point, I was finding myself wanting to build my own lures, just customized tackle I already had, stuff I would change and whatever. And as I got more into it over the years, I discovered different outlets for, parts and things like that, and basically the whole supply chain to make it happen on a little bit bigger scale than me just sitting in my office at the time at home. And it was a lot of it was tinkering in the beginning, and then people I was fishing with and like giving my lures to, they really appreciated a lot of the work and decided that they were like, man, or I should say they kind of gave me the encouragement to keep going with it. And things just kind of grew over the years. You know, I started honestly like very small kitchen table, home office, messing with stuff to making a little shop and then pouring my own stuff in molds and playing with hooks and you name it. And now it's like full blown operation. So, I mean, literally started on the absolute smallest scale, buying little parts online I could find, and then finally putting pen to paper and actually getting designs imaged and transferred into a silicone mold and actually poured and all this done at a manufacturing level. So,
Yeah.
and being able to get it in the hands of guys that are like at Jonathan's level and Ryan's level doing that kind of stuff and competing a heck of a lot more and at a different level than I ever will. Putting that to the test that way was really kind of the ultimate goal. So
Awesome. Well, that's good, man. And one thing I'll tell you is, like, Steve, the quality of your products, right? The quality. Like, I remember one of the first times when I got my hands on one of your spinner baits, it was like the best built spinner bait. And I like spinner baiting.
yeah,
And it was the one thing that stood out to me. Two was your packaging, right? I just like nice packaging. That's like, for me, like if I get soft plastics, like I don't like, sometimes people have nothing against anybody who's starting up. I get it. But like it's a clear plastic bag with a sticker stuck on there, right?
right.
And then you get another one where you could see someone put some energy and thought process in the whole designing the bag and how they're placed in the package. Like that goes a long way. Like X-Zone Lures, right? Their stuff is neatly packaged, right? With the eggshell packaging, all that stuff. I love that stuff. And that was the first thing I noticed about your baits was like the quality, but also you had your logo on the blades and everything. I was just like, dude, this just looks so like such quality product,
No,
right?
thank you.
And like, so when people are buying your stuff, whatchamacallit, when people are buying your stuff, like it's not priced at like $2.99. Like you're paying for quality, right?
Right,
Do you know what I'm saying? And like
right,
that's the first thing. That is the first thing that came to my mind the first time I got your products in my hand, right?
right.
Was, oh my God, like this is some of the best stuff that I've seen around. And like you're a small business, so you don't have this big production equipment being used
Right.
to produce all of these products. Like it's you, like, is it just you that puts this stuff together? Or you
No,
have
I have
help?
people that help part time.
Yeah.
So, but essentially, like I do a lot because I do everything. I have to do all the legwork and some of the building and filling orders. So I'm
Yeah.
doing from the business end of things, marketing, you name it, and then also putting some of the product together and sending it out. But I mean, I do have a little help, but yeah, it's a lot for a small show.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, what's like an average day look like for you? Like how like what's an average day look like for you? Like, are you just making baits and stuff for like 8 hours?
I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm up at 4 a.m. Burn right out to the shop, and
Yeah.
that usually consists of I'm usually out there, and I've got either some online orders I got to fill and whatever, get everything worked out and sorted, pack those, send them out, see what I'm low on, do some inventory, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it starts at 4 a.m. and it's usually pretty hectic, and it ends around 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So
All right, hold on one second, because there's someone commenting here on the right hand side. Pay your anglers, whatever. I don't know who it is because I can't see your name. They've already been taken care of over a month ago. All right, so you can stop commenting. Thank you. Go ahead.
uh, so yeah, like I said, it's the early thing, long days. I got to start with online orders, filling those, product inventory, see what has to be built, what has to go out. So yeah, it's a lot of legwork, but it's a long day. Like I said, I'm a 4 a.m. kind of guy, and then I go from there. So
Nice.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, sounds like that's a busy day.
yeah.
Right. Oh my God. Well,
It's
I love it. I love it. And we're gonna
a lot of
dive.
hours. A lot of
What?
hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna dive more into the product side of things, right? Because I have, and we're gonna talk, especially with Jonathan. I think he knows what we're gonna talk about because I got some handy right here. So Jonathan, let's take it to you, man. Like, what's your story? I mean, not for nothing, like you're at the level most fishermen, like when they get in tournaments, like they want to get to the top tier, and you're there, man. So like, talk about that.
Yeah, I'm a 4 a.m. guy too. It's just usually a little bit of a different scenario for me. I'm usually driving to a tournament ramp. A lot of traveling going on, but that's all part of it. So, it's a dream come true to make it to the top level. That's kind of everything that I feel like a lot of young anglers aspire out to be as a professional angler. But like once you get there, there's so much involved, and like you learn more and more every year. And I'm still young. Like I still learn every single day, every single year I set out. Like there's so much that goes into it that where we grow up, we think it's just, oh, you go catch a bass, but then you realize really fast that it's just not that. Like there's so many parts that tie in to this whole program that we have of being a professional angler. So it's a unique experience, but it's something I would never change because like I get to do what I love. I'm meeting new people. Like we just said like earlier that this is the Martins family. Like I literally get to do that with so many of my other sponsors too. And it's great because you meet so many people along the way and you build those relationships and you keep growing and you
Yes.
meet new people where you can kind of make things easier for you along the way. Like I meet people through sponsorships and you might stay with them at their place. You might go fish with them at a lake and it's just all in all fun, even though you are still working and you are like creating your own business and utilizing it as your own business. So it's a lot involved, but like I said, it's an incredible thing to do and I wouldn't change it.
I love it. I love it. And it sounds like you're really excited and passionate about it. And I mean, so we have two anglers, right, from Connecticut in the elites, right? Paul Mueller and Alex Wetherall. I mean, personally, I'm a fishing fan, right? And I love rooting for the Northeast guys, right?
Mhm.
Ike and Nelly. And now you're in the club, man. We're gonna be
We're
rooting for
getting
you.
more and more. It used to be a
Yeah.
rarity that a Northeast guy would make it to the top level, but now it's like it's very common. I mean, between the two names you just said, there's me. I know another kid just made it from New York. I think one made it from Maine. Pretty sure maybe someone from up in like the upper north made it as well. So it's like it's every year it's
Yeah.
growing big time.
It's great. And like, we all know, like, and I'm going to talk about this later because there's a new TV series coming out that starts tomorrow on Fox Sports 1 called Cast about the bass fishing and how it all started, tournaments. And the first episode tomorrow morning. So if you have Fox Sports 1 tomorrow morning, I think at 8 o'clock, it premieres. It's called Cast, and they focus on Ray Scott. But so we know that bass fishing is like usually, it all started as a Southern boy thing, right? And like I will always put my money on Northern anglers. I just think they're tough. I think they're tough. We fish totally different conditions. And I think you guys are just really versatile, right? And that goes for kayak guys too. I love I love rooting for our Northern boys. I love it. All right, cool. Ryan, talk, man. You're talk about those checks back there, baby.
There's a couple. No, just fishing, traveling, like Jonathan said. I don't do it quite at the same level as Jonathan. Obviously, I do it out of a 13.5 foot plastic kayak that goes 4 miles an hour. But it's still travel all over the place and like the sponsorship stuff and trying to make it to this level was kind of the goal when I first started. I started in kayaks in 2018, tournament fishing in general. And then obviously with COVID, it really blew up and a lot of people got into the whole kayak scene and clubs like Slay Nation and just local clubs that have been producing a ton more talented kayak anglers. So it's just getting harder and harder to compete and travel and all that. But it's a blast and going for another year. So it'll be fun, but
Yeah,
it's always good though.
absolutely, dude. And so, Jonathan, you're heading to Louisiana. What's your first event? That's Toledo Bend.
For the Elite Series, yes, I'm going to go down and pre-practice. I've never been there, so I don't know what it looks like. I do know that it's got a lot of timber, so I got to kind of get a sense of kind of the whole area. But I'm just going to shoot down there, and then I'm actually going over to Florida. My rod sponsor is in Florida, so I love going down there. I've gone down there the last 2 years to actually physically pick up every single rod that I want to use in person
Awesome.
And then I'm going to jump in a Toyota Series event in Okeechobee while I'm there because they're right next to Okeechobee. So it kind of lets me kick off the season, knock off some of the rust that I've had from the last few months, and get back on the water before going into the Elite Series competition.
Yeah, that's awesome. So last night, have you guys watched the Bass After Dark podcast? That's on Thursday nights now. That's with Brian the Carpenter and Ken Duke, right? And right. And it's an awesome podcast. Every Thursday night, I look forward to it because they have really good topics, a little bit different than like majority of podcasts, right? A lot of podcasts, we all know there's lots of negativity swirling around the industry. And so they try to avoid that. They did have a pet peeve episode last week where some guys kind of was going down that road. And then Fat Cat kind of was pulling people back like, hey, we got to start being positive, man. But last night they talked about, and they had the, I guess, number one bass fishing guide out of Florida. He has the most 10 pound plus bass caught through his guide service, right? I think his name is Sean Reach, maybe something like that. Sean something. And he was one of the guests. They had a guy, Patrick Thomas, who's a fishing biologist or something. He wrote plenty of books, all these studies. And then they had Steve something. He's the head biologist for MLF or the go-to person, right? And they talked about, the topic was, does solar and lunar phases, how much do they really matter in bass fishing? And these guys have all this data and stuff. And the guy from Florida, he was talking about fishing in Florida and when the best times he's always experienced. And it was just really unique. And when you said Okeechobee in Florida, it just made me think of that conversation. So I suggest anybody, I was talking to Nye about this earlier, go back and check it out. It's really interesting topics, right? Yeah. Really interesting. They even talked about color. They had David Fritz on 2 weeks ago, and I forgot the gentleman's name that runs, he does the baits production for Strike King, helps make baits for Strike King. And they talked about color. Does color matter in baits, right? And in what kinds of baits? And they talked about, does it matter in topwater? So just really cool conversations that I think a lot of people can take something away, no matter your level, right? So I definitely suggest that podcast. But speaking of baits, Steve, so talk to us. How do you so? Do you have any products that you could start talk about behind you or in front of you?
Yeah. So I've got a few.
Let's get into, if you have one of your original spinner baits. One unique thing about your spinner baits I want to talk about is your weight system, your hidden weight system, and talk about that, because I just think that's so unique, dude.
So, all right. So here's one of our Northern Forge series spinner baits right here, right? It's that silver green shad color. So this is a 1/2 ounce right here. So that head, if you can see, is pretty tiny. It's on a small frame. It's got a 5/0 hook, keeper wire here. So most of the weight on the spinner bait is actually behind the head, right behind the skirt, right here. So what that does is that just helps keep these, it keeps the profile down. B, it helps keep it very level in the water. So it's not going to run head high. Like most spinner baits, that all the weight's in the head will run head high, which is fine. It's all for certain applications. But with these, you're going to run really level. You're not going to flop over to one side either, because a lot of times spinner baits will tend to do that sometimes. So it kind of keeps the whole bait really true. And that's something. So I started my own type of hidden weight design, specifically because I really like throwing these around here. When I was competing a lot in Connecticut, especially, this size profile spinnerbait just gets eaten, period. Just the blade configuration is a big deal too, the size, overall profile. But these just get eaten really well around here. I mean, there's times when your bigger ones will play and whatnot, but if you want to just get bit and you need to fill out a limit or whatever the case may be, it just matches our forge around here very well. And that goes anywhere in the Northeast too.
Yeah.
And then, this profile, specifically in this style, I mean, I like to fish grass or any sort of vegetation when I can. So outside weed line stuff and submerged vegetation, these are the spinner baits for that specifically, 100%. And then, that was really the big thing. But I like having that weight behind there, just keeping a smaller profile. It helps with everything from castability to, like I said, keeping it swimming correctly in the water, because presentation's everything too.
Exactly. Now, here's my question: as right when you were tinkering around coming up with a prototype, how many different, like, how long did it take you, or maybe it didn't take you long to like get that, hey, oh, I think I should hide some of the weight and take it off the head. Like, how long did it take you to think of that
So
constantly?
I actually, so there's other, though there's not very many left. There's a couple other companies that have their own version of a hidden weight that have been around for a long time, longer than me. And I used to use some of them, but I didn't like them. So I wanted to, I didn't like, they weren't perfect to me. So I wanted to perfect what I had been using. So the hidden weight system has actually been around for a long time. It's not used a lot, to my surprise. Like I said, there's a couple companies that have been around for a long time that would make like generic molds for pouring your own heads like this. But I wanted to perfect mine and put the weight a little bit further behind. I wanted to expand that weight cone a little bit more, keep the head narrow. And I knew exactly what size frame I wanted to put that on, which would be your wire size here. So after I played with a bunch of different wire frames, there was a little bit of a process with that. Sketched it all out on paper, and then what we did is we got that put into a computer, made a 3D image, and then that gets transferred into a silicone mold. Get all the components laid in there, pour them up, test them, play with different blade configurations, test them again, change what we need to change, and then you have your finished product here.
I love it. So Nick Audie's asking, can you use a trailer on that?
Yes. So right here, like I was saying, for your viewer there, there's a single keeper wire right there. So you can absolutely slide a soft plastic right up here, and that'll hold right on.
Put your hand behind it, Steve, because it's hard to see with that.
The camera. There we go.
Oh, there you go. Like you can see it a little better behind your sweatshirt.
So there's a single keeper wire. So like Johnathan, I know specifically loves his Zoom, Fat Albert grubs and the split tails, which you can absolutely use, that are great on these. I also like just a standard small 4-inch grub. Single tail works great. And what the nice part is once you get your trailer slid up here, slide the meat of your grub up a little further and it'll slip right over that cone. And then you've got that keeper wire that's going to hook it right in. And you're going to have an awesome bite getter right here. And that's another thing too. With 5-0 hook, it's a little bit longer shank. So you really don't need a stinger hook on these. You have plenty of hook that the fish is going to get, because where your wire ends and your blades end, you're not getting a whole lot of interference with this. When you have trailer here, there's plenty of hook. So a lot of these spinner baits will have a 3-0 hook or smaller. So we have a 5-0 that fits these perfectly. So you don't even need a stinger hook.
Very nice. I like that, and good answer to that. And Nick and Ryan knows Nick. He's another hammer up this way, another kayak, Northeast kayak guy. So Nick, go get some. I love it. And so, Johnathan, since we're talking spinner baits, let's talk about the newest hot product, the knee knocker.
The newest thing there is to the lineup.
The newest thing to the lineup, baby. What's the knee knocker?
So it's a spinnerbait that I kind of came up with. I was out fishing, literally was practicing for an Elite Series tournament. One, like Steve was talking about, the Northern Forge is great with grass. And then there's the Pro Series, which is a much bigger spinnerbait. I was trying to find something in the middle, and I was out fishing. I was fishing specifically on Sandy Cooper, fishing cypress trees, and I literally was trying to find something to utilize around these cypress trees that would give me the perfect scenario, because there was literally, and I fished Sandy Cooper a couple of years in the past. I went to school down around there. So like I knew I was around fish, but I wasn't getting bit. There were times where I just wasn't getting the bait to work right, or I would get hung. It's typical things that you do encounter when you are around wood. So I was taking spinner baits, pulling them apart, putting different blades on it, just trying a bunch of different things. We were on the phone, like where I was practicing. We were on the phone together, and I was like, we got to come up with something that we can kind of meet in the middle to kind of offset this type of scenario where you're going to be fishing around cypress trees. And that's where we came up with the knee knocker. The keys to it has a slightly little bit longer arm than your average spinnerbait. So it kind of, in a sense, protects the hook. And then also it has a little bit smaller hook than the Pro Series. So if it still is a big profile spinnerbait, but it just compressed down a little bit with the hook, but it's elongated with the arm, which protects it anytime you're around a cypress tree. Because the key with cypress tree fishing, wood fishing, anytime you're fishing around timber, you have to bang the spinnerbait off the timber, the wood, the piece of cover, whatever it is, in order to trigger a bite. 90% of the time, you can't just reel it by and get a bite. Like there are those sometimes the fish are just feeding and it's first thing in the morning, they want to whack whatever you bring by them. But most of the time, you have to have that bait deflect off the cover. It has to redirect and then kind of go back again. And that was the key to having a bait that would actually hit the cover and go back again without the hook being too big where it would get stuck, or not having a big enough arm where the hook would get stuck in it as well. So that's where we kind of came up with the whole design. I think, what do we have, 2 or 3 samples, Steve?
Yeah, we did a few sample prototypes, and then you were testing them out, and then I think when we finally got the components right, you were testing them, and you were like, "Yeah, this is the money."
Another big thing was the wire size. The first prototype I think we did have was too light of a wire. Again, we go back to talking about fishing around trees, laydowns, wood. I'm going to mangle this thing. I'm going to skip it around. The first wire was a little bit too light. When I'd skip it, it would open up a little bit. Now you don't have that problem. I think the first time I actually got this spinnerbait, I caught like 25 fish on one on camera. There's a video of it. And it looks like it just came out of a box after, like I got done with the whole day being on the water.
That was with you boat flipping everyone.
Boat flipping everyone. I don't play around.
Yeah, I was smokes.
And so, how did you come up with the name Knee Knocker?
Cypress knees. That was kind of like the given in it. And okay. I mean, Steve mainly came up with that name. You know, I was kind of trying to keep it something related around a cypress tree or something, because I feel like that's how it originated. Not saying that's the only place you can throw it. Really, it's the best spinnerbait for any sort of wood application, in my opinion, whether that's cypress trees, laydown, stumps, trees, anything like that.
That's awesome.
Doc was pretty impressive. That thing really well if you know how to skip a spinnerbait.
Yeah, I do not know how to skip anything. A rock at the beach. That's about it. If I try to skip, I just backlash. But so, Johnathan, have you helped design baits before?
No, this was kind of my first time doing something like that, kind of being hands-on, all involved.
So how cool is it for you to design a bait that's out there? Like,
it's I mean, that's a dream come true, you know.
I know.
It's cool that I'm, my name tied into that, and know that like I had on the water testing of trying to figure out how to make it happen. And then sure enough, Steve was able to produce it and literally built what my thought process was of this bait.
Yeah, I just think that's so cool. And I also think like, thinking of a partnership or sponsorship with a company you trust, like how cool is it that you guys have a relationship to be able to help create products for and work together? Like that's like the ultimate partnership. You know what I'm saying? And like that's like what I think most about when I'm looking at this bait is like just that Steve trusted you, gave you the flexibility for you to help, create something like this in the lineup. And like, I just think that's freaking awesome. And like your name's on a bait, like that's just cool. That's just really cool.
No doubt. And everything that, kind of went into it, we both talked back and forth. That's the best thing. Like literally we just pick up the phone and talk about it. It's that easy, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nye, you are also part of the Martin's Custom Baits family. You're always out there slinging it. Like, talk about so they're football jigs, right? I saw you recently slaying with some football jigs, dude. Talk about it. Like, talk about the jigs. Like, talk about some of these products that, you get to use also around the country. Like when you're traveling down south or you go further up north, like, how does Martin's Custom Baits make you feel on the water, man? Like, what kind of confidence does it bring you?
Oh, it's a ton of confidence and all of that stuff. And I'm really not the biggest spinnerbait guy out there. I don't throw it all the time. I'm not, the guy that's always got one tied on. I'm more of a bladed jig guy, which Steve and Johnathan also came out with a bladed jig. That's a lot different than any bladed jig I've thrown before. But yeah, the finesse jig, from the football heads to the nomadic finesse jig, they're both phenomenal for different situations. The football jig you're going to throw on the rocks and that sort of stuff, and that nomadic finesse jig, you can skip that. I don't know how far you can skip that spinner bait, but you can skip that thing about as far as you want to. But it's got like a flat head. I don't have one right here, but it's got a flat head on it, and you can throw that thing around. I throw it on a spinning rod too. It's just a little bit lighter hook. But and same thing with the football jig I'll throw on a casting rod, but the skipping that little one around docks and stuff. And most of those big smallmouth that I caught this year were on that nomadic
Nice.
finesse jig, that's
Nice.
probably my go-to with that. And then of course the buzz bait, which that's
Yes.
its own thing.
Steve, your buzz baits are awesome.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk about those.
But yeah, the jigs are right up there with everything else.
Abs 100%. And I got to confess, so Johnathan, so I direct one of our Connecticut Slay Nation trails. It's a small vessel series. Guys can fish out of john boats, kayaks, canoes, right? You can fish as a team. And Steve and Nye fished together in one of our events, right? Was that Glasgow?
We
Yeah.
broke out
It
the
was
dinger.
Glasgow.
Yeah.
I will not. And so I'm the director, and my partner is my co-director. We don't really care how we do. And they were, I don't know, you guys were like in the middle of Glasgow fishing, and we saw Steve. We just saw you jack one, like you just laid into it. And I'm like, and me and Dave are going by, we're trolling by. I'm like, what's he using? What's he using? Look, Dave, look, what's he using? And also, dude, we kind of camped out, and I'm like, I'm not kidding, Dave. I'm like, I want to see what he's using, and because you were reeling fast, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and we're just thinking of your products. I'm like, he's either using a spinner bait or one of the bladed jigs. And he's like, I can't. I'm like, Dave, look harder. And I'm like, act like you're taking a photo, but zoom in. Yeah. I'm like, act like you're taking a video, but zoom in real close. He's like, I can't see it. And I'm like, damn it. So like, what were you doing, Steve?
So
Like you were burning something.
So yeah, that was a fun tournament. That was the first time I've ever done a sleigh event, and I was really, first of all, impressed with the whole group of guys and the way you ran it, Frank, and everything. That was awesome. So, yeah, I that was probably my bladed jig fish in the morning I was throwing.
It might have been, yeah. It was before. I think it was before that torrential downpour happened.
Yeah. So that one I know. The first one or two fish I caught, right? You might remember. That was on our bladed jig, that OD Shiner color. That color is just a color you need to have in the boat in Connecticut, period. I don't care where you're fishing in Connecticut, that's one you have to have. And I think that was our big fish. We're all caught on that. And then Ryan, you caught two good ones too that we needed that morning. I can't remember. Oh, I caught the majority of our other fish too. I caught on the nomadic finesse jig, in that mini wood craw color. That's what we caught all of our other fish with.
Yeah.
And that one actually got the majority of the bites, but the morning feed was all about the moving baits for us, for sure.
I was really just a net man.
No, you caught Ryan. I know for sure Ryan caught one of our key fish. You caught that one. I think that was cranking though. You caught that one.
I caught one cranking later in the day, but
yeah.
The morning was all that bladed jig.
Yeah, that was.
You guys won that. You guys won the event, right?
Yeah, I think Ryan asked if he should just stand there with the net at one point.
I did. I was like, "You're doing just fine. I don't think you need me for this."
That's rare. That's rare for Nye to say that. By the way, that's rare.
That was just a good old fashioned fun time, though. That was good.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, Jack Tibbins came in third place. Got a nice picture with his kid. Right. Good job. Yeah, and hopefully we get to do it again this season, boys. So let's talk about the season, right? So right, I'm going to talk to Johnathan and Nye for a minute here, right? Because you guys are on different ends of the spectrum. Like in the big boat world, in the elite series, Johnathan, like Nye and I were talking about this earlier. I don't know the name of the company, but they came out with the 22-inch screen.
NBT.
That's it. That's a TV. Like, oh,
Lovely.
you don't have one of those, do you?
I do not.
Yeah. Okay. Like, how many elite anglers do you think are going to be rocking that? I mean, I know all the Japanese guys will probably have it.
Now they just get the biggest Garmins or whatever that they could possibly get. But I know one that had it last year. I do know two other ones that I just seen put it on their boats, but I don't think they're in the elites anymore. So I don't know. I mean, most of the guys that we fish against don't post a lot of stuff. So I mean,
Yeah.
it could be a full surprise, and especially since it's like free reign this year, there's no limitations. You can run whatever you want.
Like that's
You're
like
probably going to see some crazy things on boats this year. I mean, my setup is pretty crazy, but I feel like it's doable. Like it's nothing like too
yeah.
over the top. It's definitely over the top, but I
Yeah.
don't think mine will be even close to being at the level of some guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing what some guys have on the boat. I know I don't have 5 transducers on this boat like some guys are gonna.
I know that night we were talking about that. Like guys
Mhm.
having like 5 live scopes, like whatever, every corner of the boat. Like that's
Mhm.
crazy, man.
Yeah.
I hope it. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I don't even know how to use a regular fish finder, so it is what it is. But I understand why, but I hope it doesn't get that far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a little much.
But like that, I know a lot of guys like that NBT is hard because you have to run a graph first and then have the NBT.
Okay.
So, example, like if you are a Garmin, you have to run a Garmin at your dash and then Ethernet or HDMI, however it works, from the Garmin up to the NBT. I don't know how it exactly works, but that's how it is. So it's not like that screen. That screen is not a graph. It's just a screen. You actually
Yeah.
have to go get the graph first. So I think a lot of people don't want to go getting the graph and then also getting the screen on top of it.
Gotcha.
Sorry,
Yeah.
NBT, if you're
And
watching.
I heard it's not cheap either. Um, it probably costs more than some of the kayaks you're on, Ryan.
I think it's 4 grand, which is about as much as the kayak I use. So yeah.
Oh my God, dude. You think what about Kayak World, Ryan? You think we're gonna see do you think we'll see any kayak anglers using that size graph this year?
I don't think so. I mean, there's always people with more money than brains in every sport, but it could happen. But if you need to run 2 graphs like that, or a graph and then that screen, you're talking that's a lot going on. So I don't think you'll see it on a kayak quite yet. I mean, Hobie Trails just allowed motors this year, so we're baby steps still. But
Yeah. Oh, that's true too. So yeah, so right. All right, this brings a good topic, right? So we all know that in the in the upper echelon of the sport, elites and MLF and all that stuff, right? Forward facing sonar has been like the topic everybody talks about, right? And
Bad.
exactly, right? And then and then in the kayak world, right? There's also hot topics, right? And I'm someone that follows both, right? Because I kind of have to. I got going on, and in the kayak world, there's maybe what 3 national like trails, kayak trails, right? KBF, Hobie BOS, and Bassmaster Kayak Series, right? And KBF and Bassmaster Kayak Series have always allowed motors on kayaks. Hobie has not, right? And one reason is because they make kayaks, Hobie kayaks, right? And they were all either what pedal drive or paddle.
Mhm.
And they never allowed motors until this season. And it was like the big stir, right? When that was announced. Some people were like, who cares? We allowed motors, 2 motors on kayaks, whatever. But it was a big deal because this is like Hobie BOS is probably considered, right? Definitely like probably number 1 national kayak trail, right? They've been around the longest. Bassmaster is getting there now. They made some really great changes with new director Steve Owens, right? He did a phenomenal job this year. But like it's crazy how no matter which part of the industry you're in, there's always something, some big news, some drama, something to talk about, yada yada yada. And so Steve, that takes me to you. Is like now that like Martin's Custom Baits is out there, you got Johnathan Kelley on your team, you got Ryan Nye on your team, like sponsorship stuff. Do you get like bombarded? Do you get like lots of emails or request? Like I don't like
Yeah.
how was that on a business end?
So, uh, yes and no. So I do get a fair amount of requests. You kind of have to pick and choose your battles, and also remember your business and your budget for all that. Um, and it's not a bad thing because there's, you're getting your name out there. If you get to meet good people and help them along, whether it's an organization or an individual that's sponsored, that's great. But you do get a lot of inquiries from people who, I shouldn't say less experienced, but like maybe less experienced with the sponsorship side of things, like how to go about it. You get a lot of people that maybe have not done that before, or people that are, you know, looking for like basically just free stuff. You know what I mean? Like you get like pro staff inquiries a lot, but it's people that have like, you know, you get their request, and then you can look in my order history, and I'm like, I don't know, they're not like not a huge customer, you know what I mean? Unless they buy from a store, it's a different story. So
Yeah.
it's a tough spot to be in because you have to make sure that who you invest in is the right person to invest in. You know what I mean? Somebody that represents themselves really, you know, in a professional manner that you can form a business relationship with that's actually going to be on the water as much as they say that they're going to be on the water. That's another big one.
Yeah.
And somebody who's actually personable that can talk to other anglers and be friendly with other people and that's not afraid to talk to somebody about your business. And the other thing is, too, when you have somebody that asks you for a sponsorship, that person asking you better have a good amount of knowledge about your products or business. Or maybe it doesn't have to be worded perfectly, but they should have a good idea about what your company is all about and your product. You know what I mean? So
100%.
those are kind of what you look for when you have people inquire. But like I said, I get a fair amount of requests, but I try to keep the team manageable every year, A, budget wise, and B, and if I could, I'd sponsor 10 more people right now. But when we get to that point, you know, it'd be great to take on some more anglers. So, you know, we'll see
Yeah.
how things progress. But we're growing, so I look forward to making that happen soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of growing, so Jonathan, like, when it comes, because especially like at the level you're at, it's so important. I think it's important. And I'm sure you'll probably agree, but like building your own brand, right? And like, how do you go about that? Like, what is some advice you can give somebody that's like, what do you mean? What's a brand? What's a personal brand? What does that do? And like, what are the benefits of doing that? Like, can you touch on that?
Yeah, it's a big thing, and kind of everyone's different. Everyone has their own way of doing things. Some people are all about on the water fishing. That's all they do. Some guys are more laid back. Some guys are all social media. Some guys are happy in the medium. And it's kind of up to you to kind of figure out, I guess, where you would fit. More so what works best for you, like actually you, not just you trying to do it for your partners or those who might be sponsoring you or partnering with you. You have to want to do it and be that person yourself first. And that's the way I see it. Like the stuff I do, like I post stuff, like I've been doing that. Like that's kind of who I am. If I post stories, that's who I am. It's not because I'm just trying to throw something up there to throw some content out for the day. That's not me. I mean, I don't post every single day. I definitely would like to post more, but I'm not one of those people that wants to just throw up a post to say I've posted 365 times in 2024. It's not going to happen. It's I don't want to overflood nonsense. I'd rather when I do kind of engage in social media and content and stuff like that, I want to make sure it has like a true meaning or a usage or something like that. I want to actually go out in the water using, say, a bait or a rod or a reel or a product or something like that. So there's definitely different avenues for everyone to take, and everyone's kind of different. Like you see it throughout all the anglers on all sorts of levels, even just YouTubers. You got the Elite Series, you got Opens anglers, you got kayak anglers. Everyone has their own way of doing it, and it's kind of making it work for you. I don't think there's a right or a wrong way.
Yeah.
Some ways might get looked at a little differently than others, as you've seen kind of going on right now. But it's kind of what you make of it and kind of how you do. And I think it takes years and years of learning and growing. And you got to kind of know what your partners are looking for or your sponsors. And that's the biggest thing, where communication is key. I mean, that's in the world. It's not just this industry. It's not fishing. It's everything. Like when I say we literally were on the phone talking about making the bait, like that's how easy this partnership is. We can communicate whenever we want. We can pick up the phone whenever we want. I strive to get that with all my partners. And when you can get to that level where you have that with all of them, it just becomes so much easier. Like it
Yeah.
just becomes, it's a next level. Like it literally becomes a next level. And it's not just a job. It's actually something you do every day and you enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you earlier when you were talking about you'd rather instead of posting, 3,000 times a year, you want to have something that has meaning behind it. And I was thinking the same thing that Jake Stem commented earlier, quality over quantity, right? Making sure that there's some richness to what you're posting and that could it help somebody? How much is it helping, the company I'm working with, etc., rather than just like hitting a check mark, right? Like, oh, I got to do 5 posts this week. All right, boom, 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 right? Whatever, but putting some thought and effort behind it.
Yeah, and everyone's brand is going to be different. Like I said, I mean, you can't see what someone does and be like, I got to match them, because that's their way of doing it. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be your way. So you can kind of play with it if you're. Depends what your end goal is, really. Like if you're looking for viewership, you got to find out how to get those viewers based off of trial and error.
Yeah.
If you're looking for popularity, same thing, trial and error. If you're looking for just consistency, just that's the way you go. There's many different routes you could take.
Yeah. I realized like when I post a video for Slay Nation, I've realized that like for example, I went to Bass Pro Shops this past weekend with my kids. I had a gift card. I was gonna go get something. And they had all these John boats for sale out in the front of the store. And like that's right up our alley. We're like that grassroots. And I took a video of it and it got lots of views. And I went back just to look. I'm like, if it's like me, woo, what's up, Slayers, blah, blah, blah. Not as many views. And every time I posted like a picture of a boat or a kayak and did like a quick little walkthrough or something, those have gotten the most engagement, the most views. And I think sometimes, like you just said, like figure out what is working best to get eyeballs on whatever you're trying to do or, sell
Yeah.
or whatever it is. And I
And
think,
I'll say to those younger anglers or up and comer people out there, it's not just only based on views. Like you can't just think like you need 1 million views and you need to be viral to make it in this industry to do well. One, you got to be a good person, but it all comes down to you can get a lot of views on something, doesn't mean those are good views.
true.
Like you can never judge something by that. You can have a lot less views on something else and say it's about a spinnerbait, for instance, but maybe those couple of views that were on that led to a lot of sales versus something that got a ton of views didn't get any sales.
True.
Like you just never know,
True.
and it's hard to judge based off of that stuff. But keep that in mind for anyone who is young. Like I think a lot of people nowadays, especially in today's social media, just think, I need the views, I need the views, I need the following, I need the following.
Yeah.
It's not, it is important, but it shouldn't be your first priority.
Yeah, it's not end all be all. I agree. Renai, what about you in the kayak world, like creating your own personal brand? Like how important is it the same correlation into the kayak industry, you think?
I think so. And I think a lot of the issues with the sponsor stuff now is people just throwing themselves at every possible opportunity that they think they have. Like Steve said, he gets people that have no idea what his baits are, what he does, or you see it all over the place where people just want to put that logo on their jersey. They don't really know anything about it. And but what I've seen is I try to stay like build my core sponsors and then just stay with those guys and kind of grow together with everybody instead of trying to keep moving around and be with this brand this year and switching next year and jumping back and forth. It just I try not to do that, and I try to just make good relationships with the people that want to be part of what I'm doing and build those instead of trying to keep jumping around and doing different things with different people every year. But yeah, I think building your brand is super important. And like Johnathan said, there's a million ways to go about it. You have kayak people who do the YouTube tournament stuff, and then you have kayak guys who don't do tournament stuff or just Instagram reels, and they're super popular. And there's a lot of different avenues to go. And I mean, Johnathan probably sees it in the Elite Series. Guys like Milliken who were YouTube guys who are now pro tournament guys, but they start out at that grassroots level with sponsors and whatever, and they build it off of social media and turn it into a tournament thing. And then there's I started doing the tournament stuff and I did it for a couple of years with no sponsors, and it was Like I did it because I wanted to do it. I didn't do it to try to, gain sponsors and all that stuff. But when you find good people along the way, it's good to partner with them and move with them. But if you should make tournament fishing or fishing in general your first priority, like, I mean, unless you want to be a social media person, but if you want to go fishing, that should be your first priority. Then worry about all this stuff afterwards.
To touch on what Ryan just said, like I think with the way our industry is nowadays, a lot of people view it as I need to be sponsored. No matter what that means, could mean anything, but I think a lot of people see I should be wearing those logos, those people have it, this and that, blah, 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 yada, yada. Ryan just said when he started out without sponsors. I did the same thing. I was in college. First year of college, I didn't have any sponsors. But then in that position, started accumulating some sort of partnerships and sponsors. So it takes years. I mean, I'm talking now, I am 10 years out of that first year. And it took me that long to get where I'm at with sponsors. So it's not something that you can just go into on your first year and expect to just gather all these partnerships. Like I'm pretty sure my first year actually having sponsors in college, I had 2. So it's not like you need to have 10 sponsors. So kind of like what Ryan said, it's just, you slowly got to progress your way and then you work with the companies that you do accumulate and try to stick with them, especially if you find a good fit.
Yeah, I agree. And this, as you guys are talking about this, it makes me think of an experience I had on here last year, right? We have a college kayak series that was in the Northeast, and we invited a few of those college anglers on. And at the end of the show, right, we let them go around and say, hey, where can people follow you if you have any shout outs? And it got to one, 2 of the kids, there might have been 3 of them on. 2 of them were like, yeah, I got a few sponsors. I got, this rod company, this bait company, whatever. Thanks for helping me out. And then it got to one kid. He was like, I don't have any sponsors. And it almost looked like he felt bad about that, right? Like embarrassed. And I was like, listen, I was like, all right. I was like, you know what? I'm sorry. I was like, I shouldn't even ask this question, but I'm like, don't feel like, because it's tournament fishing is like so correlated with sponsorships, and like it's almost like it's so important. If you don't have anybody on your jersey or your shirt, then you're a loser, right? Who are you? And I did not like that moment for the kid, and and then I talked about it. I was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I was like, actually, the sponsors, don't even worry about it. You're too young to worry about that. You're not, and it just made me like put a light on things for like a kid, like just a younger kid, like just go fishing, man. He shouldn't have to worry about, he should be worrying about getting his schoolwork done, hanging with his buddies, going fishing, whatever. Right. And then, and as we all see it, because I do sponsorship stuff too, right, for the tournament organization. So I get it. I'm all a part of that stuff. And then tonight, and I don't know if it's a new trend, but this is the 4th or 5th post I have seen, both from kayak guys and big boat anglers. And I saw one about an hour before we hopped on, and it was, a fisherman or an angler. I don't know if he's a co-angler or a boat angler. I'm not sure, but said, hey, anybody, like, I've seen a post like, hey, anybody want to sponsor me for 2024? And sometimes people do that jokingly, right? And this was like a serious post, like, hey, I do this. And he had a picture of his jersey on, like a bunch of trophies in his hands that he's won, I think, as a co-angler. And, oh yeah, I have this many followers. This is this. I can help you with this. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, not for nothing. The first thing that came to my mind was, why would I want to sponsor someone that looks desperate? Right. And it doesn't even like it. Basically, it's like, hey, I will partner with anybody, whoever wants to. And I don't think that's a good tactic. Right. Because we all been talking about it's nice to partner with people that you trust their products, you've used them, you follow, you have some kind of knowledge and some kind of relationship somewhere along the line. And I don't know. I was like, ooh, who would partner? Like, if you could do all of this, why don't you have any sponsors? That was the first thought in my mind. I can do this marketing. I can get you here, this reach. And I'm like, but if you could do all this, and I don't mean to be negative, but it's just the sponsorship thing has gotten to a place where some people, it's like, I don't know, you got to like do some work. I don't know, earn it. Like, you don't do a post like that. It's almost like a go fund me, like go fund my season. Here's why you should.
Well, and you should get confident with the baits and the
I don't know.
companies you're
It
working with,
just
like,
tickled me. It just irked me a little bit. And I'm just flipping through and I seen it. That was like the 5th one I've seen in 2 days. And I'm like, is this going to be the new trend? Like, hey, who wants to sponsor me? Like just the way some of these posts were, I was like, ooh. But anyway,
I think like I'll comment on that. I think that is kind of the trend that you're seeing a lot lately. Again, going back to like a lot of people seeing everyone else with partnerships and sponsorships, it's kind of like where a lot of people want the same thing.
yeah,
I think you're seeing that more and more. You're just kind of seeing we have such a small industry and so many anglers in it though, which it
yes,
really is overwhelming. And I think you just see a lot of anglers trying to accumulate sponsorships because they just think that's the normal thing to do. And I'm not saying that's not.
yeah,
I mean, it is perfectly normal. If you can go out there and help support a company, help, rep their product, push their product, get their product out there, sell their product, that's great. But it's not like it shouldn't be the number one focus, especially when you, like you said, when you're talking about a younger kid. If it's someone that's younger, just go fish, enjoy it. I mean,
yeah.
especially like I can remember when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, I wasn't thinking about sponsors.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Right.
I feel like younger kids, I bet you that tournament fish that are 12, 13, 14, whatever, that do it are probably already thinking about that. I hate to even say that. But they probably are thinking about, and I understand it's a new day and age, and those kids are extremely electronically and social media savvy, right?
Mhm.
And they probably could get some,
Yep.
right? They probably could, but you know, I'd, I mean, this could be the old guy talking about like, hey, just worry about fishing, have fun, don't worry about that. Become an adult when it's time to become an adult, right?
Mhm.
Type feel. Jack, I will sponsor you. I will pay you a Mountain Dew and cigarettes. That's all he does. And but yeah, so I don't want to go on the sponsorship tangent, but what I do want to talk about is Steve. What's the future for Martin's Custom Baits? Like, what are some of your like? I guess what are some goals? Do you have any goals for Martin's Custom Baits this season? Like, what would you like to accomplish this year?
I got about 400 goals.
Win a tournament, win a big tournament.
Yeah. Well, first, big tournament win for Johnathan.
Yeah. Martin's Custom Baits across Bassmaster Elite Series stage.
Yeah, that's it. I just want to see Johnathan lock a knee knocker in his hand and absolutely serve notice to the entire elite field about what he just designed and put 100-pound stringer together with. That's
Century Club. That's Century Club right there.
It could happen. I got faith in him. So no, but seriously, like business goals. I mean, I have a lot. We're trying to expand and not really like refine, but kind of elaborate on a lot of our product lines. So this year, you're going to see some color additions in each one of our product categories.
Awesome.
Some will be transplanted colors, meaning they came from one series of product going into another one. In the very near future, in a couple weeks, you'll see on the website 2 new colors of Johnathan's knee knocker spinnerbait are going to drop. So that's really exciting. Those are 2 new hand-picked colors by Johnathan. Our bladed jig category, new colors in there, everything. So the other thing is too, this year we're trying to get into a lot more retail locations across the country. So we kind of have like a big retail campaign going on in that area. And another product line that we are working on, that's in in its total infancy. We just prototyped a flipping jig, so that's going to be a new thing in the works this year. We'll see how far we get with that, and if it makes it after testing, then we'll put it up on the up in the lineup. So that'll be another addition. But yeah, we're trying to round off product and expand. Obviously, we're always trying to get new customers, whether it's at regular retail or wholesale line customers. But yeah, the big thing is just expanding into retail stores across the country this year. That's the big goal because that's what keeps your business moving year round. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. And then so and then we'll see you at the expo this year too, Frankie.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Mohegan. We'll be there, booth number 411. So we're in there.
Heck yeah. I forgot to even talk about that.
Yeah. So we'll be there. We'll be at the trough too. Doing a little bit of messing around with some baits for you guys to see. But yeah, so the key is growth. that's the thing. Every year, thankfully, every year we've been growing, and we hope to keep it going even more. So
Sick. Yeah, Jack just asked. Well, you just answered the question, Jack. Yes, Martin's Custom Baits will be at the Mohegan, Connecticut Fishing and Hunting Expo, March 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Right. Ryan Nye is going to be there doing a seminar. Right. Let's go. Kayak angling, how to break down water and break your neck with a jig. And that's not, I'm just kidding. Not the second part. And then Slay Nation is going to be hosting an entire kids casting zone. So come on down. We're going to teach high schoolers how to flip and pitch and like cornholes. There might be something bigger. There possibly could be a trout pond. We've got little stuff for infants, magnetic fish. We got a bunch of great companies that donated salt plastics to all the kids that come through. I'm going to be dressed up as a fish, Frankie the Fish. We're going to have photo booths, all that good stuff to make it real family friendly and have a lot of fun. So come on down, bring the family if you're in the Northeast area, or hey, you just want to, take a little trip. It's at one of the beautiful, most nicest casinos in our area. So you can make it a weekend and have fun. You can go, right, buy some Martin's Custom Baits, right, and then go gamble and use that money to buy more Martin's Custom Baits,
or walk out of done because you burnt it all in penny slots.
That's right. Oh, that's true too. Oh, last year, so these expos, right? Because people can buy like an alcoholic beverage, right, and then walk around. And last year, I think it might have been on Saturday or Sunday. I saw the guy walk by our booth. Because we had a booth last year, and you could tell he was intoxicated. Then I guess he went to the second row behind us, and apparently this dude, he drank a little too much, and he tripped and fell into a wall of spinner baits.
Oh, nice.
A wall of spinner baits, and the guy knocked it all over, stood up, and the guy had like 15 spinner baits stuck in his arm.
Oh,
so be careful of those guys if they stop by your booth. We'll have to put up some like barriers. But I'm excited, Steve. Heat Your Meat's going to be there. I'm really excited. We'll see if Hooks at Hoodlums is going. I don't know what their plans are, but I'm really excited for that. And Al Gag, if anybody doesn't know, Al Gag is a popular saltwater, bait manufacturer. You can buy his stuff in Bass Pro Shops. He's got some great stuff. He's a great guy. He got inducted into the Fishing Hall of Fame in October. He's going to be there, and he is just a phenomenal dude. So we got to make sure you go stop by and say hi to Al Gags, take a picture with him, because that's a really cool feat. And Johnathan, what are some of your goals, expectations for this year for yourself? Like what do you got? What are you yearning for?
Well, obviously the goal is to win a tournament, and anyone and everyone wishes for an AOY. That's definitely the hardest thing to do in our industry.
Yeah.
But I would definitely be happy with winning a tournament. There's no doubt about that. But definitely the first goal is to make the Classic this year. I fished now 2 years, kind of knocked off the little bit of rust that I had, kind of getting accumulated to the Elite Series. So now my goal going forward is to make the Classic in 2020. Well, it'll be 2025 Classic, but in 2024, and then just kind of see where everything else shakes up from there. And no matter what, I'm looking forward to the season, but those are definitely the couple goals that you always set, no matter who you are at any level. But, I'm really itching to get to that next Classic when, especially because I'm sure the next month or two, it'll be announced. So once you know where it is, you're like, so you're real excited.
Where is it this year? I don't even remember.
It's out at Grand.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. And I think, and that's the same weekend as the Expo, I believe. I think the Classic, it's like last year it was the same weekend. We were live stream. I remember I brought my laptop, which is cool. It's nice to be at an Expo and you talk about what's going on, the Bassmaster Classic. So, well, we hope to see you on that stage next year, bro.
Absolutely.
Right? You're going to win a blue trophy this year. I'm giving you the Slay Nation luck. You're going to slay it now.
Maybe two. I mean, why is he satisfied with one?
Hey, listen, that'd be awesome, right? That's
There's only 9 events.
That's right. That's true. It's true. And what about you, Nye? What's your expectations, goals, and stuff heading into this brand new season? I know you are going to be on Murray next month. What's up with you, man? What are you striving for?
So I'm kind of making the jump over to Bassmaster this year. I haven't done any of their kayak series events, but just the way it's going, it seems like a super well-run trail and a lot of down south tournaments, which don't always fare well with me. But I'm excited to try it, do something different. I've been fishing KBF for a little while, and it just seems like bass and Hobie have kind of stepped up a little bit. The late addition of motors to Hobie, it's kind of too late to start, to jump into that trail. So really going to focus on bass this year. I think we have 5 events and all over the place, but focus on that. Try to win one. Starting out at Murray, I love that place. It's such a great lake. It's so much fun, and there's always a ton of fish caught. So that'll be a good place to start. And then I think we go down south to Texas or Gunnersville or something, and we end
Nice.
on the Susky down in Pennsylvania. So
Ooh.
we bounce around a little bit, and I think I'll probably do some Hobies too and try to make the tournament champions again, but just
Yeah.
not do it through AOI and do it through a tournament. But you gotta place well in that to do it. So
Yeah. Nice, man. Well, we hope you're feeling
a
better.
lot going on.
This tournament. Absolutely. You're always doing something.
And then go fish Slay Nation with you.
That's
I'll
right,
be doing
baby.
that too. I'll be doing the Slay Nation
Let's
East
go.
Kayak Series for sure, and then
Let's
probably
go.
some of your events.
I
So.
actually was submitting permits today, and I had to flip flop some. So we're going to be at Mansfield Hollow earlier in the season rather than later.
I've never been there, so that'll be fun.
And
Just show up one more time if you're gonna go there early.
What'd you say?
I said I might have to show up one more time if you're gonna go there early.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, we start our season at Pachog late. It's like late May or early May. I'm sorry. Usually I start late March, but because of the expo and then basketball, I had to push out because of that. We're starting May 5th at Pachog, and then I think June 9th is going to be Mansfield Hollow, and I'm hoping it's on fire.
Careful what you wish for.
All right, don't say. All right, never mind then. That's funny. So awesome. Well, listen, guys, it's about hour and 15 minutes past the hour. I don't want to keep anybody too late. It's Friday night. In Northeast, we're finally expecting some snow here in Connecticut on Sunday. I don't know about Pennsylvania, right? You guys getting snow in Pennsylvania tomorrow night?
We're getting it tomorrow night, starting at 5, and I think it ends Sunday at maybe
like early in the morning, right?
noon.
Oh, noon.
So
Okay.
I'll be working the whole weekend. Plowing
Nice. Okay. Yeah, we're going to finally get some snow up here. And I'm a school teacher. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm a phys ed teacher. So the teachers today, we were like, why can't it be Sunday night into Monday? It has to be Saturday night into Sunday. Like, please, come on, snow gods. So whatever. I know the kids, if we get anything, like I'm on the shoreline, like Steve, I don't know if we're going to get much.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on where you live, I guess, but I know down here by me, I'm more southern. I'm more closer to New York City than Steve is, right? I'm like 45 minutes away from them, and Nye's like an hour and 50 minutes from me. And we might get 2 to 4 inches, maybe, but it is what it is. But all right, I really appreciate all three of you guys hopping on. I was really excited that everybody was available because it all ties into Martin's Custom Baits. And I know everybody's busy, so I really appreciate it. And I hope all the Slayers out there, if you have anything, any questions for these, all right, for this gang up here, just hit them up. And so that takes me to the next question, the last one. Steve, where can people follow you and where can they find these sweet baits?
All right, so you can get everything. All of our products are on the website, www.martinscustombaits.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Martin's Custom Baits, and we also have our Facebook page, Martin's Custom Baits. So check any of that stuff out. You could also always send us a private message if you have any product questions. We're always good about getting back to you quickly about that. So feel free to reach out. You have questions about anything, interest, whatever. You hit us up anytime. And telling you this year, try some of this stuff. It'll make a difference with you catching fish. And if you need tips on rigging and how to use it or whatever, just ask anyone, myself, Johnathan, Ryan, anybody that's used it can all help you out.
Awesome. And also veteran-owned company. Thank you for your service, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. All right, Johnathan, where can people find, follow, and all that good stuff with Johnathan Kelley, JTK Fishing? Or is that it? Oh, you're muted.
You just said it. So you
All
can
right.
follow me. You can find me at JTK Fishing, Johnathan Kelley Fishing. They both come up for any of my platforms, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. So you can find me on all those platforms. I even have my own website. It's JTK Fishing. So be sure to follow along. It's going to be a very long season, and I'm looking to get it started in the next coming weeks as I start heading south down to Toledo Bend.
Oh yeah, best of luck, and I will make sure we put you on our fantasy fishing team. All right, Bassmaster Ronnie Moore taking you down, dog. And Ryan Nye, where can everybody follow and check out Ryan Nye?
So Facebook's just my name, and then Instagram is rnie15.
R915.
So yeah, those are the two places you can follow me, and I have a YouTube too, so I'll be doing more on that this year too. But
Excellent.
tournament recap stuff and just boat rigging stuff, and I have a couple videos on there already. So that's just under Ryan Nye Fishing if you want to go check those out.
Heck yeah. And then come to the Mohegan Sun Expo and we got to fill up his seminar, right? And Nye's going to talk about what are you talking about? I don't remember.
We're just gonna do kayak fishing and kind of how it's
Okay.
different than the big boat stuff. And
Yeah,
I don't know if a lot of those people have seen
all that.
kayaks yet, so just more of
Absolutely.
that side of the kayak fishing side of things, more than like breaking down water or something. So
Very cool. Awesome. All right, y'all. Well, gents, thank you so much. Happy New Year to everybody. Oh, by the way, Johnathan, are you planning a wedding, right? You're engaged?
Yeah.
All right.
She's sitting like right there.
Congratulations, Mrs. Future Kelley.
He said thank you.
Do you have a date picked out yet?
Yeah, it's going to be November 16th of 2024.
Nice. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thanks. Sorry for walking in before.
Oh, don't worry about it. I saw you back there. I know you're probably like, who's that Italian guy with a big schnoz? All right. Yeah, sounds like a nice guy. Okay.
You know.
Best of luck. Ryan is definitely the newlywed out of Steve and I. Ryan, what's some advice you'll give to Johnathan and his beautiful bride to be with wedding planning and whatever?
I'm not the guy for this, Frankie. I'm not the guy for this. But
Man,
November
Johnathan-
16th is my birthday, so you picked the right date. I'll give you that.
Oh,
There you go.
there we go. All right. Awesome.
I think that's the second birthday that we've heard on that day. So.
Really?
All right. That's it. It's a sign. It's a sign. Well, awesome. Congratulations and good luck with the whole journey of planning a wedding.
Thank you. Fortunately, because I leave and I'm going to be gone for so long, we had to plan, like we had no choice. We had to plan most of it. So most of it is like planned on paper for the most part, besides for like a couple of things that she can handle while I'm gone. And then, just, a couple of things touching base when I come home a couple of times here and there throughout the year. But no, we did really good. We definitely took action pretty quickly and we got the ball rolling. Big thanks.
Good. Awesome. Well, best of luck with that and break a leg, brother. So, hey, gents, thank you so much for hopping on. I'll talk to you guys soon. Excited to watch everybody's season and everything grow in 2024. It's the year of prosperity and grinding and keeping that hustle and following our dreams and hopefully inspiring others, right? And power of positivity. So, Steve, Johnathan, Ryan, have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Frankie.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. All right, folks, there it is. Thank you so much for tuning in. 3 great guests: Steve Martin of Martin's Custom Baits. I almost said mustard. Johnathan Kelley, Bassmaster, Elite Series Pro, and Ryan Nye, traveling competitive angler. Can't wait to see what happens in their seasons and look forward to following as well. So again, if you're interested in being a part of Slay Nation, check us out at SlayNationTournamentFishing.com. Join one of our trails and get in the early bird registration. All right, let's go. Okay, we will be unveiling the 2024 Slay Nation jersey. As you know, we do a different one every single season, right? Basically, you can collect them. We have 1 or 2 members that actually have every single season Slay jersey. So we can't wait to showcase that. I'm excited about it. I love the color and the theme on it. And we think you will too. So have a great weekend. Stay safe. As always, peace, love, and together we slay. Ciao.